1607, English settlers arrived in America and settled in what they would call Jamestown. When they arrived, they began to build their colony, but soon found themselves starving. Just when things were at the worst, Powhatan Indians brought the settlers some food and saved their lives from starvation.
Starving people! We have seen your struggles. We have brought food to help you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We would have starved without this food.
We appreciate you and we will repay you for this.
You're welcome.
Only 2 years after this gesture, the English settlers were instructed by Governor Thomas Gates to have missionaries teach Indian children the Christian religion and should kidnap them from their parents if necessary. He also gave instruction that the Indians should be forced to labor for the settlers and also make annual payments of corn and animal hides. Sometimes these orders were carried out brutally, and the Indian village were destroyed and families murdered.
In 1613, a new export was introduced, tobacco. To produce more of the crop, the need for more land, including the land the Indians occupied, intensified. More opportunities for money came from tobacco, causing the Great Migration in 1618, and the English colony went from 400 to over 4,500 settlers. The Native Americans did not like all these new people and retaliated by killing about 300 settlers to try to drive them off the land. This enraged the settlers, and some now thought the deaths and the blood of the English that covered the ground entitled them to the land. Settlers retaliated by waging war on the Indians and set out to root out into extinction. They destroyed villages, murdered tribes, burned their crops, and decided they would get the Indians' land by any means necessary.
We have been violated by the Indians.
We need to do something about this.
We cannot sit here and be attacked. We need to attack them from now on.
Yeah!
In 1623, the English showed they would do anything to get Indian lands when Captain William Tucker took the soldiers to a Powhatan village to negotiate a peace treaty and persuaded the Indians to drink a toast to the treaty and serve them poison, killing 250 Indians.
The violence only got worse as the English went to war with Native American tribes. When the American government was not obtaining Indian land legally through purchasing it or through a treaty, they used force or intimidation to force the Indians off their land. The Wampanoag War in 1675 claimed the lives of around 6,000 Indians, while thousands more were shipped to England as slaves.
During the early and mid-1800s, Native American groups like the Choctaws, Cherokee, and Navajos were examples of what was happening to all Indian tribes during this time when tribes refused to give up their land. The Choctaws were treated unfairly as the government sent their chief and other important tribesmen to jail, while other Choctaws who were okay with moving accepted the treaty to sell their land. The Cherokee and Navajos were both forced at gunpoint to walk to the reservations of the government placed them at. They refer to the Cherokees' experience as the Trail of Tears and the Navajos' experience as the Long Walk. Many of the other people and children died of these voyages as they were forced to walk during the winter times. For other tribes like the Pawnees, going to the reservations was for their security from the Sioux Indians who attacked the Pawnees, killing hundreds from the tribe.
In the 1890s, the ghost dance spread among tribes like the Sioux. The dance was thought to revive the Indian nations and exterminate the whites from the land. The dance scared the military that ran the reservations, and soon they had reinforcements surrounded the tribes and escort them to the center of the camp, where they were told to place all their weapons in a pile, while officers searched teepees for other weapons. Soon Indians began to perform the ghost dance to raise spirits when a single shot rang out, causing all the soldiers to open fire on the defenseless Indians. After the shots came to a stop, hundreds of Indians lay dead or injured, and the event became known as the Massacre at Wounded Knee.
While the Indians were on the reservations, the government forced white culture onto the Indians. They made them perform pageants called the Last Arrow, where an Indian would come out of a teepee in his cultural clothing and shoot his arrow. Then he'd go back in the teepee. When he came back out, he was wearing American clothing, showing he had crossed over to the modern world. Native American children were also changed as they were placed in boarding schools and taught how to be more American. They were not even allowed to speak their native language. In the years that followed, the government changed their mind and asked them to speak their language to help save the country. The Indians agreed to help even though they have been persecuted for the last 300 years. And so the Navajo language helped our country to victory in World War II. The Navajo showed to the world that no matter how bad they were treated, their ways were not evil, not bad, and showing just how forgiving of a people they really are.
I'm not afraid. Yeah. It's been a ride. I guess I had to go to that place to get to this one. No, I'm not afraid to take a stand. Everybody.